The prairie wind howled like a living thing. Asterisk dust rose in sheets, ghosting across the broken street of Clay Hollow. A town barely standing after the war had passed through like a fire with teeth. The sun loomed low, bleeding into the clouds, turning everything rust and gold. Lines formed at the ration post, stretching like scars, boots scuffed tired dirt. Children clung to coats too thin for the wind. No one spoke. Luke Rowan stood near the front. One hand rested on the rough leather of his satchel. The other clutched a folded paper, not for rations, but for nails, oil, and powdered soap. Supplies for his quiet blacksmith shop on the edge. Of town, he didn't need much, never had, not since Sarah died. Not since his boy marched off with a dream and came home in a box wrapped in silence. Asterisk behind him, a stir, not noise. Not a cry, just stillness. Asterisk she'd stepped into the line. Like a whisper before UNDERCLAP. Asterisk a woman. In a dust-covered military coat, brown, not blue or gray. Not worn like a disguise, but like a memory that wouldn't wash off. Two children beside her, a boy, maybe 5. A girl, perhaps 7, eyes too old for her face. The wind caught the woman's scarf and flung it aside, revealing short, uneven hair, a jaw set like forged iron, and eyes that didn't flinch when the townspeople turned. Asterisk no one said it, but they all saw it. Asterisk this woman had seen war from the front and walked away from it. Asterisk the clerk at the window scowled. "You're not from here." Asterisk she offered a card, edges bent, markings faded. The children stayed silent. Asterisk the clerk squinted, then sneered. "Expired, stamped invalid." Asterisk no protest. She nodded once, tight, and turned to leave. The boy's stomach growled. The girl's hand gripped her mother's, but her eyes met Luke's for a second, steady, unblinking. Like a soldier waiting for orders she already knew would cost her everything. Asterisk. Luke stepped forward slowly, quietly. He placed his own ration token beside hers. "Added to mine," he muttered. "Not for her." "For the kids." Asterisk. The clerk grumbled. But stamped both cards. Asterisk. The woman looked at him. Not grateful. Not pleading. Just studied him like one might study the wind before deciding which way to walk. Asterisk. He didn't wait for thanks. He turned away. Walked. The dust followed. His cabin stood alone, half a mile from town. Nothing but open land, dry grass, and the forge's skeleton. Smoke curled from the chimney, slow and tired. He stacked his purchases by the door, stripped off his coat, and moved to stoke the fire when asterisk a knock, one soft thud. Then silence. Asterisk he opened it to find her there, the soldier. The children behind her, wrapped in silence and wool. Her voice was steady. "The boy's fevered. You have heat. I'll keep watch. One night, that's all." Luke stepped back, wordless. She entered without waiting. Asterisk that night the storm rolled in heavy. Thunder didn't boom. It growled like some old beast circling the dark. The woman took the far corner, never removing her coat. Her son curled on the rug near the fire. Her daughter sat cross-legged by the window, tracing something in the dusty floor with a twig. Asterisk Luke sharpened a chisel with methodical rhythm, pretending not to watch her. But something pulled his gaze, the way she never turned her back to. The room, how her shoulders flinched with every distant howl. And then there was the patch on her shoulder, barely visible, frayed from years of sun and mud, a star split down the center. He'd seen it before, asterisk years ago, on a battlefield's edge, on a torn flag in his son's belongings. But back then it was branded trader's cloth. Now, he wasn't sure. By morning, the wind had buried his porch in red dust. The boy's fever broke, though his breathing still rasped like dragged chain. Luke brought water, set it near. Didn't speak, asterisk. The woman was already outside, chopping wood with a hatchet he didn't remember her taking. Asterisk she moved like a blade, no wasted energy. Not like a drifter or refugee. Like a soldier doing what had to be done. When she finished, she didn't thank him. She just sat on the step, watching the horizon like she expected something or someone to come out of it. Asterisk Luke stood at the forge, hammering iron, trying not to look at the children. But the girl came near, holding something, asterisk, a small, crumpled drawing, asterisk, a flag, rough and broken, with a black star in the center. He froze. "Did your mama teach you that?" he asked, voice like gravel, asterisk. She nodded. "It means don't leave them behind." That night, they didn't speak much. The children slept deep. She sat in the corner again, cleaning her boots with a rag. Luke watched her hands scarred. Knuckles raw, not the hands of someone hiding. The hands of someone who'd done things and kept doing them because someone had to. Asterisk, your name? He asked. Asterisk, she looked up. Sarah, she said. He blinked. That your real name? Asterisk, she tilted. Her head, eyes unreadable. Was once. Morning came with more than wind. The sheriff, heavy boots, dust-covered coat. Badge dulled by time, he stood on Luke's porch like judgment made flesh. Got word, he said. Woman matching her description. Thought she was dead. Some? Say she should be? Luke didn't answer. The sheriff leaned in. Name's Cade, Seraphine Cade, general. Deserted her post after the war turned. Asterisk, Luke didn't blink. She's got kids. That makes her not your concern. Asterisk, the sheriff spat on the step. Just letting you know. Folks remember, men died under her. Boys too. Asterisk, he left. But not before glancing inside. And nodding to himself. That night, Luke sat by the fire. His hand reached into his coat and pulled out something he hadn't touched in years. A letter. The one they sent with his son's body. He hadn't read it then. Couldn't, but now he opened it. The handwriting was shaky. Barely legible, asterisk greater than Pa. She stood over us when the shells hit. Told us to dig in. She took the fire herself. Not all generals wear gold. Some bleed with their men. Her name's Cade. She don't shout. Just leads. If I don't come home. Don't blame her. She saved us all. Just not me. The paper shook in Luke's hands. He looked at the woman across the fire. Asterisk, she didn't speak. Didn't move. Asterisk just nodded. Once, like she knew exactly what the letter had said. The storm didn't end. It changed. Asterisk, the wind became quieter, but heavier, like it carried the weight of something it couldn't drop. The sky turned to ash, and by the third day, the sun vanished entirely behind a wall of silver smoke creeping. In from the hills, asterisk Luke's forge stood cold now. The bellows untouched. Tools laid out like a body ready for burial, asterisk inside the cabin. The boy coughed weakly, bundled in the quilt Luke's wife once made. His sister never left his side, always watching, always guarding, like a soldier too small for her armor, asterisk Seraphine Cade, or Sarah. As she'd first said, sat outside, motionless, watching the ridgeline, asterisk, not paranoid, prepared. The days bled together. Food grew scarce. Luke pretended it didn't, shared without asking. He caught the girl trying to ration her brother's portion, hiding berries in her sleeve. Asterisk, he didn't scold her. Just added more to her bowl that night and turned away. One morning the smoke from the hills thickened, not from weather, asterisk from fires. Campfires. 5 of them. They found us, Seraphina said quietly. Luke was in the barn, hammering nails into a broken door that had no need to be fixed. Asterisk, they're not soldiers. She said, they're what the war left behind. Asterisk, he looked at her. Bounty? Asterisk, she didn't answer. Just unwrapped a small cloth bundle from her bag. Asterisk inside. 2 bullets, 1 silver. 1 black asterisk, she whispered. I have enough to buy them a window, not a road. That night, the wind died. Coyotes stopped howling. Even the floorboards of the house seemed to hush. Luke found her outside, standing in the field, lit by the orange moonlight. She looked smaller in the dark, not weak, just tired. Asterisk, I used to lead to 100, she said. Only 20 came back. He said nothing. I tried to tell them no, not this valley, too many young. Too many ghosts. Still, he said nothing. She turned toward him. Your boy, I know his name, Eli Rowan. Asterisk, Luke's throat tightened. His fists clenched. But her voice was soft. Asterisk, he volunteered to stay behind. He wouldn't let me go forward alone, covered our retreat. I told him not to. She blinked once. He smiled like someone who finally found a purpose. I carried him back, buried him proper. The others, they didn't have names left? Luke's breath shuddered. She stepped closer. I never forgot him. I never forget any of them. That evening she cleaned his forge, quietly, scrubbed it until her fingers cracked. Rebuilt the bellows, sharpened the blades, not for use, for dignity. Luke found a small bundle by the fire that night, her sewing work. She'd stitched his boy's old coat for her son, carefully, respectfully. 3 days later, a rider approached, not a bounty man. A courier. He carried a satchel and wore no sidearm. Letter for Luke Rowan. Luke opened it in the shade of the porch, his son's handwriting, dated before the war's end. Greater than pay if you're reading this. It means I didn't make it. But I saw something in the dirt and fire. Her name's Cade. She didn't run. She stood between us and death. If they call her a deserter, then they never saw her carry bodas across rivers. She saved more than she lost. If she finds her way. To you, help her, not because she's a soldier, but because she never stopped trying to be human. Luke looked up. The woman stood silently in the doorway. She'd read it. Somehow, she already knew what it said. That night, Luke sat with her by the fire. The children asleep. He poured 2 tin cups of black coffee. You stayed, he said. She nodded. Not brave, just unfinished. He gestured toward the North Hills. That fire line, it's closing. She nodded again, then, softly, there's a place under the old bridge. You can hide the children there, right after. But they'll smell me on your coat? Luke stared at her. You think I'm letting you walk into that? She didn't answer. Just looked into the fire. Later she handed him a folded page. Maps, sketches, tactics. She had a plan. Not to win, just to survive long enough. As midnight neared, Luke led the children to the wagon. Packed water, bread, a jar of wild honey. The girl hugged him, not out of fear, but like someone who understood what he was giving them. Then Seraphine knelt and whispered something into her daughter's ear, something that made the girl cry without sound. The boy wrapped his arms around her neck, and she held him like the last star in the sky. She stood, shouldered her coat, handed Luke her general's insignia, for your forge wall. She said, not for pride, for memory. Then she walked into the woods alone, toward the coming fire. The night bled into itself, no stars. No wind, just the sound of embers cracking in the dark woods like bones shifting under the earth. The sky above Clay Hollow glowed a sickly red, not from sunrise but from fire. 5 camps. 5 hunting. Dogs, 5 riders looking for one ghost and Seraphine. Cade had walked straight toward them. Luke waited beneath the old iron bridge, breath shallow as the river murmured under his boots. The children slept inside the wagon, wrapped in coats. And silence. The girl clutched the music box, the one that had belonged to his son. It didn't play anymore. She held it anyway, as if the weight of it could protect her. Luke stood watch with a rifle across his arms, but his hands weren't on the trigger. They were pressed against the insignia she had given him, the bent metal star scorched by. War, now warm with her scent. The first shot rang out just past midnight. Sharp, clean, close, then another, wild, panicked. Shouts followed, a man's scream. Then silence again. Luke closed his eyes. She's not killing them, he whispered. She's scattering them. In the woods above the ridge, Seraphine moved like a shadow cut loose from its body. She wasn't a soldier anymore, not by rank. But war never leaves some people. It just settles deeper into the bones. She led them in circles, left false trails, lit brush fires in their own camps. Her knife took one man's belt, not his life, just enough to send him tumbling from his horse, but time was running out. By the second hour, the leader found her, not by wit, but by chance. A tall man with a scar through his cheek and a coat lined in vol fur. His boots were military, but his eyes were something else, hungry, vindictive, asterisk in an arcade. He grinned, cocking his rifle. Always said you'd die in smoke. Serafina raised no weapon. I'm not here to die, she said calmly. Only to delay, asterisk, delay what? She stepped forward. He fired. Luke heard it from the river. One single shot, then nothing. He didn't wait. He left the children in the wagon, wrapped in blankets, a note pinned to the girl's collar. Asterisk, your mother walked into fire for you. Now I walk into it for her. He reached the hills before dawn. The trees glowed with dying embers, smoke coiling like ghosts. Crows scattered overhead. Asterisk, he found her by the fallen tree, lying half sunk into the mud, still breathing, barely. Red bloom spreading across her side. Asterisk, he dropped to his knees. Lifted her gently. Asterisk, she opened her eyes, just enough to see him. Her voice was dust. Asterisk, you weren't supposed to come. Asterisk, Luke's hands shook. I never was good at obeying orders. She smiled, barely. Did they find the children? Asterisk, no, you gave them time. You gave them everything. Asterisk, her breath. Slowed. Asterisk, then it was worth it. He carried her back, through smoke, through ash, through memory. Asterisk, by the time he reached the bridge, the sun was breaking through the fog, light poured down in golden rays. The girl saw him first, screamed, ran. Asterisk, the boy ran behind. Her, barefoot on stone. Asterisk, they reached her as Luke collapsed to his knees. Asterisk, she looked at them. One last time. Asterisk whispered something. A single word. Asterisk, free. And then her hand fell. Still, they buried her under the old elm tree. Asterisk, Luke carved the stone himself. Not general, not hero, just mother, fighter, ember. Asterisk, the town said nothing. But in the weeks that followed, things changed. Children left flowers on her grave. The sheriff stopped riding so close. The forge reopened. Luke taught the boy how to shape steel. Asterisk, and the girl? She hung the insignia above the hearth, right beside the old flag with the broken star. One night she asked Luke, was my mama famous? He looked into the fire. She was feared by many, he said, respected by the rest. But not. Enough people knew her. Asterisk, the girl nodded. But we do. Months passed. Then seasons. Asterisk, and one day a rider came into Clay Hollow, a young soldier. Eyes wide, uniform clean. He saluted Luke awkwardly. Sir, I heard the Iron Whisper fell here. Is it true? Luke looked up from the forge. She didn't fall, he said quietly. She gave. Final scene. Luke walks alone to her grave at dusk, places a tiny iron star on the stone, then lights the lantern. As he turns back toward the cabin, we hear his voice, quiet, gravel-worn, full of something. Unspoken, greater than some fires don't burn to destroy, some burn to light the way.